guys, I hope you're doing well. I wrote this on March 13th, 2022, so not that long ago. Who was I before the world darkened my soul? I remember some of my old journal entries. I was so hopeful, so insistent on looking on the bright side, on looking for the silver lining. Maybe I'm romanticizing the past, because I know humans tend to do that. But I feel like old Caitlin used to enjoy the little things more. She would smile at children's laughter. She would breathe in spring air. She would look up at the sky. She would appreciate. Just appreciate. Maybe a part of becoming whole is becoming who you used to be. Not the bad parts of who we used to be. Not the mistakes or bad decisions or lies we've been told or we tell ourselves. But the person we were before we stopped paying attention. Before the world stained our hearts. I want to be that old Caitlin again. I want to be easily satisfied. Appreciative of just what life is. Ambition is okay. Ambition is good even. But what is life? Life is the everyday things. Life is the morning coffee, or your nephew's new hobby, or your cat's purring, or your best friend's dad jokes. Life is stepping outside in the morning to feel the weather, to decide what you're going to wear today. Life is maybe cooking dinner for your son, or taking your little sister practice driving, or visiting your mom, or helping your coworker with the dishes. Life is listening to music, or the sun in your window in the morning. Life is your roommate's annoying snoring or your cat's meows that wake you up at 6 a.m. Life is the mundane and the great. But really, I think life is the mundane. The mundane is so named because of our failure to appreciate. Life is that song you heard that you can't stop listening to, or that meal you've been trying to perfect for 3 months, or maybe that movie you watched that reminded you of what life really is, and inspired you to get back to the inspired soul you used to be. That journal entry hit different. When I read it, my brother died last week. I didn't know him super well. As you guys who watch my channel will know, I'm adopted and I was in foster care, and we lived in the same home for a long time, but then he was adopted into another family. So we didn't really grow up enough together, and then we lost touch, and I was conflicted about talking to him for very personal reasons that I'll never talk about. But I remember summer of last year. I just been very conflicted, and I just had a gut feeling that I needed to go see him. I needed to talk to him. I needed to let him know I loved him. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I knew he was gonna die. But when I'm conflicted about something, about a decision I might make, sometimes I ask myself, if they were to die tomorrow, what would you do? Would you regret anything? So that is the ultimate reason why I decided to go see him, because I knew I would regret it. And I was right. Now that he's dead, I mean, I already have regrets. Last video, I said I didn't have any regrets, and that was true. But, funny what can change in a week. I just regret having not reached out sooner. Not to get too personal about it, but it is a personal video. He died from an overdose. We're not quite sure how it happened yet. Part of the reason why I was conflicted about being around him, not the only reason, but part of it was I knew he was around drugs. He was around people like that. And with my life and my childhood, and we're so easily susceptible to doing drugs, and I don't want to be around that, because I know how easily I could have been me who died. I don't want it to be him, but I'm trying to remind myself not to blame myself. I can't blame myself for not wanting to have been that way. I visited him, and I told him I loved him, and I gave him food because he was homeless, and gave him my number, told him to call me when he needed me, and he never did. But, you know, when I think about, I feel like when someone dies, we usually blame ourselves a lot of times. But it's like, if he were to die from a car wreck, would it be my fault if I told him not to go driving that day? It's like, yeah, I could have done that, but it doesn't mean it's my fault he died in a car wreck. I'm trying to remind myself that you can't blame yourself. There's a million things you could have done. It's not my fault that he was around those people. I wrote that journal entry because I watched the movie Soul, which had been out for a couple years, and I love it. It's one of those movies that's so good. I wish I made it. Obviously, I don't make movies, but I mean, whoever made it, like, kudos to them, because it's great. Both, like, the moral of the story, and the animation, just, like, the technical stuff was really good, too. It's just interesting to me that that movie is very much a movie that kind of makes you realize life is short. It's just interesting to me that I wrote that journal entry and watched that movie just a little bit before, just a couple days, really, before my brother died. Just makes you wonder if he appreciated the little things. I just hope that in his dark circle that he was in his life, I hope that I gave him a bit of hope. I told him I loved him. I told him I've been wanting to reach out for a long time. I just felt conflicted. He just seemed so different. I mean, he seemed so different. In a way, I didn't really know him that well. Like, which is why, like, I'm kind of more okay than you would think for someone who was his sister. But in some ways, I knew him really well. Like, in some ways, I knew things about him no one did. In other ways, like, his friends probably knew him better than me, and that's really sad. But in other ways, I know him. I know the deepest parts of him, you know. I just wanted to share this video as a tribute to my brother Ronnie. He had so much potential. I have memories with him that I will always, always treasure and cherish for the rest of my life. And I want to take this time to encourage everyone to just appreciate the little things in life. And remember that, sorry, it's so emotional. Remember that life is short. And don't take it for granted.